We are Radio 91, KRCB FM Windsor, K215CQ Santa Rosa, a service of Northern California Public Media. Doug Jane here, and I'm joined in the studio with the Boxmasters. Hi, you guys.
Hello, hello.
Bud, JD, and Teddy, thanks for coming in. They'll be performing tonight at the Mystic Theater in Petaluma. And I was reading today that it's the 50th anniversary of the photograph that was taken of the Beatles walking across Abbey Road.
Oh, wow.
And your new album, Spec, was produced by Jeff Emmerich, who worked on Abbey Road. And here we are.
That's right.
Can you talk a little bit about how Jeff Emmerich got on your project?
Well, we had known Jeff for years and years, and he was a fan of the band, and we were, really impressed that he was a fan of ours. And the first thing he ever said to me when I met him about one of our records, he said, "I'm just happy to see somebody still cares about the backbeat."
Oh.
And it was pretty cool, It
was really cool.
And anyway, so he had always wanted to either mix or produce he would say a song for us, and because we produce our own stuff usually. And it just so happened that he was by A&M Studios one day where we recorded, and he was talking to the studio manager, just what are those guys up to? And she said, well, they happen to be here making a record right now, just starting. And he called me and said, hey, listen, I'd love to mix a couple of songs. And he did, and we thought, wow, that sounds Beatle-y.
Wow, how cool.
And the idea behind the record was already not exactly a full-on concept record like Tommy or something, but, thematic in terms of it's a collection of songs that are, loosely related under one theme, which is, humanity, humans in this giant universe trying to get by. And so in other words, we didn't set out to make our own Sgt. Pepper with Jeff Emmerich. He just happened to be around and wanted to do it. And once we heard the first two songs that he mixed, we said, how about you produce the record?
Oh, man. And he said yes.
Yes.
So were the songs already written by the time that he got involved in the project?
Yes, they were already written.
And you guys wrote all the songs together?
Yes.
Right. Is that how you work? You'll get ready for an album and get together and write the album and then go in and record it?
Well, it's not always. We don't always write in the same room. One or the other of us gets inspired, and we come to the other guys with like a melody and chord progression or something for a verse or a chorus, and then we take it from there. It happens in different ways.
And usually there's some sort of thing that brings the whole, Billy has a vision of what this project's going to be. And so we'll start kind of putting things together that kind of fit in this. And then in the case of Spec, we had 15, 16 or more songs, that were part of this group that we were working with. And we, with Jeff's help, kind of culled it down to what the final group was. We, had a bunch more and, songs that we loved. But Jeff, when we were just thinking about what the record is going to be, we just wanted to make it very definite. What is this record? And he helped us do that. And, we're real proud with what we ended up with.
Yeah. And if folks don't know, Jeff Emmerich passed away in, I believe, October last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Heartbreaking, really heartbreaking.
Yeah, we believe that our album was the last thing he did.
Yeah, and I was looking at his
at
his discography, and he worked on like some compilations, like an America box set and stuff. So certainly the last thing of new material was your album. Well, the album is great. It's called Spec, and can we play a track off it?
Sure.
This is the lead-off track called "I Want to Go Where You Are." It's the Boxmasters.
You've given me the right to walk away.
Boxmasters from their new album Spec, and Boxmasters are here yakking with me. Thanks for coming in, you guys.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Pleasure to meet you. And so that song sounded very Beatle-y, and you were saying that he treated the vocals somehow, and
yeah, he put a lot of treatments on different things that he used. Because he invented a lot of stuff, and on that particular song, it's got that, if you listen to it sometime and pay attention to how it sounds, it's the treatment he put on John Lennon's vocal, which is it's an automatic double with one lower than the other one somehow. But he wouldn't tell us exactly how he did it or what he ran it through. But he was pretty tight-lipped about his methods.
And was he working with tape?
Both.
The multi-track was on Pro Tools, running off a computer, but he had tape machines running that he was manipulating the audio with, and as well as he was printing the final mix down to tape. And so, I went to Jeff's memorial that they had at Capitol Studios a few months after he passed, and person after person got up there, I'll use famous in quotes, but recording engineers and other producers and stuff that if you're in the industry, you know who they are. And they're one after the other got up there and talked about how much Jeff taught them and how many secrets he was so free and open with divulging to everybody there. And I was sitting back in the corner just fuming because I asked him point blank, said, how did you get those sounds? What did you do to Billy's voice? Because honestly, we want to do it later on, when Jeff wasn't working with us. And he's like, I'm not going to tell you. And I was just like, why did he tell all these other creeps?
I know. Well, maybe he was thinking he wanted to record your next album, too.
He did something to the piano that I recognized right away. And I go, what is that? It just sounds like the piano usually does, but there's something slightly different. And he goes, do you think I'm going to tell you that?
It's like a chef in a fancy restaurant. It's like, why does this thing taste so good? It's just like, oh, just eat it, my friend. Don't worry about it. So, growing up, you were obviously very influenced by the British sound, the sound of the Beatles, and that. And earlier in my show, I played your version of "I Want to Hold Your Hand," which is totally different than this song.
Yeah.
Sounds so Beatley, and you almost sound like a British band.
Yeah,
but growing up, obviously listening to the British Invasion and all those great records, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean that's what changed all our lives. I mean, we're not unique in the fact that when we saw the Beatles and Ed Sullivan, I was 8 years old when I saw them, and on an old black and white Zenith, and I just said that's all I ever want to do, and the Beatles were the ones. There were plenty of others, and we loved all of them. I mean, the thing about it is when you're a kid and you're watching these shows like Shindig and Hullabaloo and the Ed Sullivan Show and all that, where the action is, you want to be in a band so bad, and all you think about is rock and roll. So we didn't pay much attention to bands that now you look back on it and they're kind of silly, like Freddie and the Dreamers or something like that.
Right, they all seem to be on the equal stage.
They did,
yeah.
exactly. I mean, whoever was on Ed Sullivan or Shindig, we just thought they were amazing. We didn't discriminate. It wasn't like that. We knew the Beatles were special. There's no question about it. And we knew they were the top one. But still, we loved everybody, and that even went over into my, early and late teens. When we got into Cream and Traffic and Deep Purple and Jethro Tull and stuff like that. It wasn't. You grow up and then you look back on reviews and they were just lambasted, some of those bands, But we never thought about reviews.
Right.
We just liked them.
And where do you guys grow up in California?
Well, I'm originally from New Jersey, now living in California for a long time. And JD is.
I grew up in Kansas, but I've been in California for 20 years. So.
And was one of you guys from Bellflower?
Well, we're all from Bellflower.
Yeah.
We here's the official.
The Boxmasters are from Bellflower.
Boxmasters.
I read it in a bio.
Well, what it was, those first two records we did, the sort of psycho hillbilly records that you had, I Want to Hold Your Hand on. The reason we did that is because we wanted to put an innocent song about a guy holding a girl's hand next to Knoxville Girl, which is a murder ballad. Old-fashioned one, and so we just thought, that juxtaposition, if we put those songs together, would be funny. And those first two records, we didn't even sound like that. We did them on purpose like that. We said, what if we took David Allan Coe and put him in like a psychobilly / British Invasion setting?
Yeah, and it was a band that like I always say in interviews, we opened for Billy's rock band, so we were an opening act. So we wanted to create like a different entity with the
Like a
Boxmasters.
persona,
Here was a band that from Bellflower, and we were the opening act for Billy Bob Thornton's band. And sure enough, we did that for 2 records, and it stuck.
Now, were you living in Bellflower, or
No.
you,
It was
you just picked Bellflower as a?
well, here, since I grew up in Arkansas, JD was in Kansas, Teddy's from Jersey, but we'd all been in California forever. I mean,
Okay.
Teddy and I have lived there for 40 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So instead of always saying these guys are from all over the place or whatever, it's like, well, we live in California, been here most of our lives, so we got to pick a city that we're from instead of saying he's from Santa Monica and I'm from, Hollywood or whatever. And we thought, what would be fun? And we thought, how about Bellflower? And
That is funny.
we even did a song called Bellflower.
right?
I don't
The
think
reason
it's
I
ever been
asked
on a
is
record.
the very first record store that I met. In the record biz, and the very first record store I ever managed was a warehouse store in Downey, and
Right.
it was. And then
Right
I
next
worked
door.
on Lakewood, so Bellflower is right
Right next
between
door,
Downey
yeah.
and Lakewood. So
Absolutely.
I thought, hey, these guys are from my area.
Right.
Yeah, well, we thought, what's a town that a band has never been from?
Right.
How about
Well,
Bellflower?
also, we're big Beach Boys fans, and so having, some sort of connection to the South Bay, is kind of important to us too, because that's another band that really kind of, you take the Beatles and the Beach Boys and mix a little Birds in there, and that's really kind of who we are, guys that love that stuff, and we love all that music from Southern California, all those
Yeah.
things, the surf bands and the folk groups and all that. We just love all of that stuff mixed together, and so that's kind of what we are, a band that love that stuff.
Last night was a perfect example of it. It was the first California gig that we did, and people related to all the songs that they had never heard before, but it had this California vibe, and a lot different than Texas. How they relate to our songs.
Now, you guys were in one of the very early cover bands, ZZ Top cover band. Were more than one of you in it? Or,
Well,
Bud,
I was in it.
Yeah.
I was the drummer in a band called Tres Hombres, and I was living in Houston at the time, playing in this 3-piece band called Nothing Doing, and we were playing in a club called Cardi's in Houston, and this guy who used to work for Lone Wolf, which was ZZ Top's production company, and this was back when they didn't have a bunch of tribute bands.
Right.
It wasn't a thing yet. And he came backstage and he said, "Hey, you guys sound just like ZZ Top. How'd you like to be a ZZ Top tribute act?" Because he was an agent.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, "What does that mean?" And he said, "Well, you just need to look like them and play their songs, and I'll book you." And we said, well, "What do we get out of it?" And he said, "How much are you making tonight?" And we said, "I don't know, $250, whatever it was." He said, "How'd you like to make $1,500? We said, "We'd like that very much."
Right.
Yeah, cut to. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now you can't drive past a shopping center without seeing today Caravan Sarai doing their tribute to Santana or something.
Right, exactly.
Oh, yeah, you see it on all the clubs that we play. It's just us in the middle of a tribute to somebody else all the time.
And now ZZ Top is open for us. There's been it was a gig at Billy Bob's, and they actually opened it for the Boxmasters.
We might have to
Cool.
clear that up. Not at my house.
No, right.
Billy Bob's-
Billy Bob's the
There's a giant club in Fort
holds
Worth,
6,000
Texas,
people.
called Billy
It's
Bob's.
a nightclub,
Wow.
a honky tonk.
Yeah, we've opened for them quite a bit for ZZ
Yeah.
Top, and they wanted to do a show with us in Texas one year when we were down there, and they found out that they were inside the radius because they were doing a fair somewhere close by Fort Worth, and so they couldn't do a headlining gig. So Billy Gibbons said, he goes, an idea. We open for the Boxmasters. And so we said, okay, if you want to do that. And it worked out great. Yeah.
How cool. Speaking of opening acts, tonight you've got a really good opening act. Are you guys familiar with Danny Click?
I've heard of Danny Click.
Danny Click and the Hell Yes, they're really good, real popular around here.
Oh,
So
good.
Danny Click
they're
and the Hell
great,
Yes?
and the Hell Yes, there'll be a great supporting act for you guys.
Good.
Tribute bands. There was has nothing to do with anything, but there was a tribute to Huey Lewis and the News going on at one of the little shopping centers around here, and the bass player in the tribute band is the bass player for Huey Lewis and the News. Mario Cipollina.
No joke.
Is playing in a tribute band.
That's wild.
To himself. Go figure.
He should play something else though. It's
that's right.
I'll be the trumpet player.
Yeah.
Or the singer. Be the front man.
Exactly.
Boxmasters are here, everybody. They're playing tonight at the Mystic. Their new album is called Spec. Let's play another song off this.
Sure.
What should I play?
Let the Bleeding Pray.
Yeah,
There you
play
go.
Let the Bleeding Pray. Yeah.
Is there a story about this one or anything to tell
Well,
us?
it's highly political in nature.
Okay.
And well, you know the old saying, "Let them eat cake," the supposed Marie Antoinette quote.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like "Let the bleeding pray, let them eat cake." Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, it's if you ever read the lyrics, it's pretty. The breadcrumbs are there. It'll lead you right to what it's about.
All right, here we go. Boxmasters. New from the Boxmasters' new album, Spec, Let the Bleeding Pray. Well, great song, you guys.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Perform it tonight at the Mystic Theater in Petaluma. What else is what are you doing on your tour? Are you doing this album, a lot of songs on this album, and mixing it up?
Like 23 songs, so it's.
There's only a couple
collection,
from this
yeah.
record, but we've released 5 records in the last, I don't know, 4.5 years. So we have a lot of stuff that we can pick from. So it takes a while. We work up, 30, between 30 and 40 songs during the rehearsals, and then whittle it down to the 25 or so that we play during the show. And it's always hard. It's like we got stuff that we like at the beginning, we got stuff we like at the end that kind of we do every tour, but it's filling in the middle part and making it so that there's a dynamic to it, but that people don't go to sleep or something. So we keep the energy up pretty much the whole show.
There's kind of an impression that you guys do this kind of as a part-time thing, but you're prolific. The output of material you put out is like a band that's together and
There's a
touring all the
record
time.
We put out more stuff.
They
than
just finished the
most bands.
record before we left.
Uh-huh.
Before it was another whole
Well,
record.
we've got 2 records pretty much ready to go.
Before we
so,
left for the tour.
We've done 2 records since the last tour last summer, and once we get home, we'll start cranking on a new one, just because that's kind of the stuff that makes us sane and keeps us fulfilled.
We work all the time.
Yeah, we
all the time.
So it's and honestly, it takes all the rest of the year to do all the recording and preparing for the next tour. There's a lot of work that goes into getting everything, keeping the ball rolling, and then the agents always want more time than we want to give them to book another tour. So, we have to kind of wait on them to figure out where are we going to go next and all that stuff.
And Teddy, you're also playing with Walter Trout, is that right?
Yeah, I played with him a little bit, yeah. Last year I started, he asked me to play with him. So sometimes when I'm not in the studio with him, I'm out with Walter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great player.
Yeah, he just broke his finger. That's great.
Ah.
That's a nice thing. He broke his finger on his left hand.
That's kind of the least of his problems. He had some really serious
Oh,
health
yeah, well,
issues,
he's pretty much back from the dead. He had a liver transplant, and he's snapped back, and he's still doing it, so...
Yeah, I love his playing. He first time I saw him was with John Mayall's group, and it was him and Coco Montoya are in there, and one of them's left-handed, and one of them's right-handed. They had that Paul and George thing going with the look. It was very, very cool. Boxmasters are here. Where are you heading after this? Where's your tour go?
We go
hometown next.
Yeah, we go to L.A.
Go to L.A.
Bellflower.
We go to Bellflower tomorrow. And, at the Bellflower International Jumbo Dome.
It would have been funny if you said you were from the city of industry, because I don't think there's any population there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But, yeah, we go to L.A., and then after that we go to Vegas, and then to San Diego, and then we're
That'll
done.
be it.
Yeah, and,
Done.
We started in New York City on July 2nd.
It was how many? 40?
41 shows in 45 days.
Really?
It's pretty brutal, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
is.
We were just talking
And doing
about
all
that
those
walking
songs
up
on-
the walk here. Man, I'm burnt, man.
How do you do your set? Do you have a regular show you do all the time, or do you make up the thing as you go along?
Pretty much.
It's
It's pretty set. It works. You find a thing that where like dynamically it works with audiences, and you kind of stick with it. Every now and then we'll do something different in the encore, maybe, but for the most part, the only thing that we ever change is, every now and then you run into a place where, obviously your agent hasn't been, and so when back in the middle of the country usually, and you'll get to a place that turns into a little bit of a Blues Brothers thing. So on those nights, sometimes I'll call audibles at the line of scrimmage, and say, maybe not 23 songs tonight, maybe 16.
Or maybe let the Bleeding Prey. We'll cut that off the set list for tonight.
Well, we haven't cut it out of the set list, but we have told a different story about it. It's like, certain places we say this is about the possum problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is the you guys are out there seeing the people and they're talking with them. How is the mood of the people? You getting a feel of that?
Well, we had two girls beat each other up last night.
Yeah.
Well, that was a
Yeah, that was fun. But, every audiences are great. They don't know what to expect. So usually at the end of the show, they're going, "Wow." We had no idea.
I mean, we play a lot of places that we're very well known at,
Right.
and so those places you kind of know what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
But every tour, there's a handful that you've never been to, and so those are the ones that, it's interesting. Usually when you get to town and places like this, or to the venue at least, you just know already. You know that, hey, this is going to be fun. Like yesterday, we were in Felton, California. We'd never played there before. It's by Santa Cruz over
Right.
there, and we didn't know what to think. And but as soon as we got there, it was like, you know what, this is going to be amazing, and it was. It was like one of the best shows on the tour. And when you see it on the tour schedule, you go, Felton, California, and it was amazing. I mean, it couldn't have been better. And I actually was kind of like I don't know. I escaped yesterday in the daytime, and JD and I were in a gym shop.
I had to go to sound check, and I told Billy, "Don't talk to strangers. Don't take any candy from anybody. Don't get in a car." And what did he do? Got in a car.
Well, I met this retired bail bondsman named Kevin. He wanted a picture on the sidewalk by the gym shop, and then these 4 girls pulled up in an SUV and said, "Hey, we're going to Monty's to have a drink. You want to go?" This is like at 1 in the afternoon. And I go, "I don't know." And Kevin goes, "Hop in my car. I'll take you." and the next time JD hears from me, I texted him. I said, "I'm at Monty's having a drink with these strangers and a guy who's a retired bail bondsman."
Yeah. Well, you could tell they were safe, though, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you get a vibe from people.
Oh yeah, we were in Felton.
They're not
Cool
going to take you
people.
away anywhere. Well, there's the challenge to you, Petaluma. We got the show coming up tonight. Let's make this the best Boxmaster show tonight at the Mystic Theater in Petaluma. Thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thank you.
What a treat
Thanks
having
for
you.
having us.
Let's play another song off your new CD. Which one should I play?
You know what might be interesting is we have since we're on the radio, one of the songs that we play live, the 2 off this we play live are "Let the Bleeding Pray" and a song called "Watching the Radio." Don't you think, guys? Wouldn't that
absolutely.
be good? I mean, since it's
Watching
got
radio?
the word radio in it, maybe that's.
I like it. I like it a lot. What is any story about this one with Jeff Emmerich? Did he have anything he specially added to this one?
Not particularly. It's a pretty straight ahead kind of, rock and roll song. Lyrically, it's once again political in nature, and sounds like a rock pop song, but the words are creepier than a rock pop song.
Nice. You know what I would request that you guys do, and it's totally optional for you guys, but when you go to Petaluma to the Mystic Theater, there's a crosswalk in front of there. Get a picture taken
All
like
right.
you're crossing Abbey Road.
We'd love
Have
to
someone
do that.
have them stop the traffic and get out there and do it.
My old solo band did that at Abbey Road because we thought, when you think something would be fun to do and interesting, and nobody has ever done that before. Well, with my solo band in 2000, we were touring Europe, and we went and took a tour of Abbey Road, and we thought, what would be really cool is if one of us takes our shoes off and we go across the crosswalk and like every tourist on earth has done that.
Right.
We thought it was a unique idea, and one of the things about it is it's on a curve, and the people just hate it. It's like people in L.A. who hate it when you're blocking off their neighborhood to make a movie. It's not cool to them, and we almost got run over.
I don't get that, and people do that around here with bicyclists. It's just like, man, anytime I see a bicyclist, I slow down, get them all the room in the world, and then you'll see some other guy go whizzing by him. It's like, what's dude?
Exactly.
Where's the love? We're in California.
Right. Exactly.
God. Well, thanks again, you guys. Good luck with the congratulations on the new album. It's really great, and we're going to keep playing it here. And thanks for spending so much time with us.
Thank you.
Boxmasters, everybody. Go see them tonight at the Mystic Theater in Petaluma.